Hello YouTube. Today I will give you a tutorial on the Shimano Deore DX left shifter, which is a shifter produced in the late 80s or early 90s. I could not find out the exact date because there's not a lot of material around it on the internet, which is also another reason to make this tutorial. The only material I found is one attempt in making a DIY disassemble and reassemble by Monkey Shred. I will link this, as well as a guide, a web page by Geoff Koenig, where he explains in depth how to do the disassembly and reassembly with pictures attached. But since it's only in text form, I decided to make this video tutorial in addition. So before we start, two warnings. First, whenever you disassemble something, always make sure to make a record, because you might think, as I did, that you can remember easily how these few parts fit together in which order. But once there are 20 parts outside and you have already been working on this stuff for half an hour, you are at a point where this just is not true anymore. So please take care. The second warning I want to issue is there are springs inside, so watch out for this. Cover your eyes, do everything slowly and with care, because you don't want these springs to end up in your eyeballs or flying around somewhere in the garage where you have to search for hours for them. Alright, then tools. You need two screwdrivers, a smaller one for a screw that's inside, a small screw, and a bigger one for the two screws you can already see. If you don't have like the exact sizes, it should work also with a Swiss knife, as I did it on my first attempt. But it's more convenient to do with actual screwdrivers. So, one more thing, as I said, I will not do the whole disassembly. If you need to go further than I do, please check out the webpage. You only do have text and pictures there, but it is really well documented, so it should not be too much of a problem. Alright, so let's get started. On the disassembly, I will explain the parts, and on the reassembly, I will explain the whole function. It might get a little mixed up though. So first I will open the anti-rotation screw here on the left side. This just prevents the plastic cap from rotating when you shift. So nothing important here. Now the big cover goes off. Attention here, this is when the spring can come out and you already hear it click. So be careful. Alright, so this is the cap. This metal plate keeps everything in place, and yeah, the plastic cap is just to protect against the rain or some bad weather. Now the other part that popped out is this bushing. This is the upper bushing of the upshift lever. It is a bit worn out, as you can see. Maybe, I don't know, it needs... You can think about replacing this. Then you have the spring that I warned you about. So this has two tabs, one on the down side and one on the right side. This is for keeping tension of the, for making the upshift lever snap back, right, after you shift. So now we can take out the lever. This might be a little bit of fiddling. Alright, yeah, this is how it looks. It has a another pawl here to keep, this is the upshift pawl to keep, to actually connect with the shift cam and allow you to grip and actually shift your gears. So this needs to work. Make sure that this works with the spring. And there's another metal part up here that I really do not know exactly what it is for. Just keep everything in place. And now here is, since we had the upper bushing of the lever, here's also the lower bushing. You can just, if this falls out, you can just put it back in, just so you have seen this part. And now we can go for unscrewing this top plate here. Be careful, there are again springs below. Whenever something is attached with the screw, there might be a spring below, but you can just lift this up. Okay, and it goes off. So, yeah, this is how it looks. Two edges here, I will explain later how these work. And then we have this small spring that they are almost lost here. It looks similar to the other one. So we have one tab that goes down and one hook on the side. This was sitting here. Okay, then we have another spring. There's a big spring. This is for making the downshift lever snap back. So as you can see now, it doesn't snap back in any sense. Alright, then one more part is this weather protection ring that you can, it looks like this. Normally it's not broken. Has this U shape here, and that is put below here. And then lastly we have this small holding pawl. So you could also disassemble this. There is a, let's just take it out. Thing is now, of course, it still holds something. So if I push this, okay, it does not anymore. Oh, it sits too far inside. Yeah, it does. Okay, of course, just needed to give it a little more pressure. So this is what keeps your gears once you shift them. Yeah, we can also take this out. Watch out, there is a small plastic ring here to make it stay in the right place. Do not forget this. So now we have all the parts disassembled. Let's put it back together. Yeah, so if you want to disassemble it further, because you're I don't know why you would do that. If something else is broken, then you probably need to. But if not, yeah, you can just follow me along. Otherwise, go to the web page I put in the description. So now, putting it back together, we take this pawl with the plastic ring on the downside. So it goes like this on the pivot. We put the ring against the weather for weather protection below here. Then we take the small spring. No, sorry. We first take the big string. The big string, it has one tab on the downside and one hook. So the tab goes into this obvious hole here. And then later this hook connects to the plate. So the top plate. So now the small spring goes on this holding pole. With this tab on the right hand side, you will see there's an edge, or maybe you have seen before, there's an edge here where it can stick. Alright, so now for this part, the top plate. The top plate has these edges. So the first edge here simply connects to the hook of the small shift. So this is where this connects and where the tension comes from for keeping the holding pole in position. And then the second edge is where the big spring connects on this side. And here there's another edge on the right hand side, like a step. This is to keep the downshift from going too far to the left hand side. As you can see, normally it's not here, right? It's somewhere here. So this is to keep it in place. But it's easier to assemble it when it's placed in that way. Alright, let's put it in. Yeah. Starting with the small hook here. That goes inside the hook of the spring, inside the loop of the spring. Make sure it connects, and then I turn this around so the top plate fits with its tab into the bearings of this ring, and I can already push this down. And now slowly rotate the downshift panel that was before on the left to the right. The hook here is already connected. Maybe you need to do this by hand. Keep pressing down. And as soon as you cross this point, it's now blocked. And there's a lot of tension now. You can see it snaps back. This is because of this hook spring here. And the holding paw is now also in position. So, time to attach the screw. Yeah, it should. And then we complete our first step of the reassembly. It's a bit of a fiddle. Alright. Okay, so now we have the resting position of the downshift panel, and we can also rearrange this ring to properly fit. Great. Alright, halfway through. Now comes the upshift panel. Make sure this is tilted the right way. It needs to go in like this. So I will put it in this way and then rotate it afterwards. So first try and fit it next to the spring and then rotate it anti-clockwise so the pole can connect. Alright, this is in place now. You can see this is where it should be. And now comes the ominous spring. This goes with the tab inside a hole. You will see there is a hole here on the left side next to where the screw goes, and you can just fit this in. And now the problem is you need a lot of tension to make this hook go here. This is the problem. This is where you need to be careful with the reassembly, and this can probably cost many people many nerves. Yeah, there's always the risk of it springing out, so I keep my hand here and put now the upper bushing. And now you might want to take a screwdriver, put it here to keep the spring in place. Might be necessary, but then again it's going to be difficult to put the cap. So yeah, another possibility is to remove the plastic cap and put it on afterwards, but how this works exactly you have to read on the web page. So now try and assemble this carefully. Okay, now everything fits. And can put the last screw, the anti-rotation screw. All right, and now it's complete. You can see there's the spring is in place, makes it pop back, same here. And yeah, I can now turn this and it goes back in place. Maybe the spring doesn't sit perfectly, it can be not so much you can do. You can always try and disassemble and reassemble again. But yeah, shifting works now. You can downshift as well. So yeah, everything works. Hope it's the same for you. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I wish you a beautiful day.